Today I'm going to share with you my capstone inquiry activity. It's called Sink or Float, and I geared it towards my kindergarten classroom. So this activity I actually adapted from the How to Smile resource, which I looked up in Module 4. And I chose it because it's a really hands-on experience making and testing predictions, and students are going to reflect at the end, and there's many ways to adapt this for your classroom. I would start this lesson off whole group, getting all the kids together, kind of gathering their prior background knowledge about floating or sinking. We would go over some vocabulary words, and then I'd have them just give me examples of objects that float or sink that they know. In this video clip I'm going to show you, it is the during portion of my lesson. So I'm walking around with my objects that I've already prepared, a plethora of objects that float or sink. I'm letting students randomly pull out of the bag their object. On their handout, they're going to draw a picture of their object they have chosen, and they're going to make their prediction by filling in a bubble on whether they think their object is going to float or sink. After they make their prediction, they're going to go to the body of water. So in this example, I'm using our pool, but at your classroom, you might use your sink or a big bowl, or maybe it's a nice day and take the kids outside and have a body of water out there that they can practice in. So right now they're dropping their object in the water, testing their predictions. Then they're going to go back to their seats and fill in the after portion on whether it floated or sank. After they do their handout, they're going to go and sort out the objects for me, a whole classroom sort. I have float or sink at the top, and they're going to sort their objects so that at the end of our lesson, we see a whole classroom of data. The reflection and sharing portion. So after testing out this lesson, I actually decided to reflect on my own handout. I ended up changing my handout so that the one pictured below is what the students did, but I'm going to change mine up, and I actually attached it to the discussion post. I added in a portion where they can draw their object, and I use an up arrow clip art and a down arrow clip art to kind of reiterate those vocabulary words next to float and sink. Students are going to be sharing with their peers, and we're going to discuss some higher order thinking questions at the end of this activity. Questions such as, do all the objects float the same way or differently? What do they look like? Describe what they do. What would happen if you pushed an object that floated? What if we pushed it down under the water? What would happen? And maybe try it as a whole group. Grab one of the objects that they already sorted, and I can test it out in front of them all. The STEM perspective. There's not a whole lot of design and engineer and technology present in this lesson plan, but you could expand and extend your lesson, incorporating maybe building an object like a raft that could float. And that's another way I would extend on this lesson. We're going to be going over the objective of this lesson, which is that objects behave differently in water. Some float, some don't. We're going to go over the science process words such as observe, notice, compare, same, different, change, test, and predict. The tenets of inquiry. A lot of this lesson is teacher guided. Like I said, I'm gearing this towards kindergarten, so a lot of mine is probably a level 0. I am giving the question, what do you have? What do you think will happen when we put it in the water? The students use their prior knowledge to make predictions. The students are testing their objects in the body of water and then reflect on the sorted objects that floated. And again, I gathered this information and resource from the How to Smile, and I gave my reference below.